I'm trying to think how I can start this video off. I know exactly what I want to say, but you know what? I'm just gonna get right into it. I don't. Yes, whatever. I wasn't that all impressed with Lamar Jackson's performance on Thursday. I just. I was just so disappointed in how he played the game. I was so, you know, at first I was getting it all. I was putting it all on Lamar Jackson, but perhaps it wasn't all Lamar Jackson. I was expecting the game plan by the Baltimore Ravens to be a bit different. I was expecting the Baltimore Ravens to run the offense more through Derrick Henry. Because if you're not going to run the offense through Derrick Henry, what's the point of you getting Derrick Henry? That's what I'm most frustrated about. Why get why get Derrick Henry and you are not feeding the monster? I still believe Derrick Henry got it. I still believe Derrick Henry can be King Henry. I still believe he is still King Henry. So what I don't understand is why is the offense not being run by through him? Derrick Henry is just as great as a player as he was in his prime, is just as much as Lamar Jackson. He might not be. I think he's older than Lamar. Yeah, he's older than Lamar Jackson. Let me see how old Derrick Henry is. I should know this, but let me see. Let me see how old Derrick Henry is. Because Lamar Jackson is 26, 26, 27. Yeah. So Derrick Henry's 30, of course. So Derrick Henry's up there. He's old for an NFL running back. So I get it. Lamar Jackson is still surprisingly young, which is crazy. I mean, he's only 27. That's wild. But yeah, I think Lamar. Let me see. Hold on. I want to give straight, pure facts. I don't want to just say stuff that's incorrect. Okay, yeah, he's 27. He was born January 7th in January 7th, 1997. So he's 27 years old. He still has a lot of more room to grow and to get better. He really does. But with that being said, I mean, I if I was the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, even though as dynamic as Lamar Jackson is, I just would not run the offense through him anymore. Not if I have somebody like Derrick Henry. That's why I picked the Ravens to win the game against the Chiefs. I picked the Ravens to win. You can see in my last video, one of my last videos where me and my friend Andre Dawkins, we were giving our predictions towards the end of the video. I said it's going to be Ravens on top of the Chiefs, 24-20. Only because I thought that Derrick Henry was going to have more of a impact on the game. The times that he had the ball, I thought he did very, very well. There were some times where he was getting stuffed at the line, but the Ravens' offensive line wasn't all that great. And I just felt the times that he had the ball in his hands, he did miraculous things. My thing is this, is that a team that really dedicates on running and they are effective at it, that team has more of a chance to winning the game because you're not solely just depending on your quarterback, no matter how great or dynamic your quarterback is. There's only so many quarterbacks that can do that without a running game and still win heavily. Tom Brady comes to mind. Peyton Manning comes to mind. Even though Peyton Manning did have Adrian James and Marshall Faulk, but Peyton Manning won his 2 Super Bowls without them. So Peyton Manning comes to mind. Quarterbacks like that. That's all the quarterbacks I can think of. Even Patrick Mahomes has a really solid running game. He has Pacheco. Andy Reid calls a very complimentary football game. He calls a very great situational football game. Andy Reid, he wins in all different phases of the game. So my point is that even though Lamar Jackson is so dynamic, he won two NFL MVPs, anonymous MVP, and he won an MVP without talent. He won 2 MVPs. Well, he won last year. He had Zay Flowers, but Zay Flowers was a rookie. Whatever. He won 2 NFL MVPs without a lot of talent on his team, but he's not winning the most important games. And I don't want to blame it on coaching because John Harbaugh is a phenomenal coach, but at the same time, it might be because of coaching because they are depending too much on Lamar Jackson. And it could be almost like with Caleb Williams when he was at USC. Lincoln Riley, he You can see now how USC won the game when they beat LSU. You can see how USC is playing more complementary football, especially now that they have a better defense. But you can see their offense is a bit more balanced. When Caleb Williams was there, Caleb Williams was so dynamic, so much of a powerful quarterback and player. It was just all him. It was all him. They were winning and losing those. They were winning those games purely because of Caleb Williams. But if you're talking about winning championships, the coach has to call. Unless you got somebody like Tom Brady or whatever, the coach has to call. Especially now, I'm talking about the NFL. The coach has to call a complimentary game. It has to be more situational than anything. Because if you just keep depending on just your quarterback just to win these games, you're not going to win as many games as you think you're going to win. And Lamar Jackson, and I just kind of felt like that Lamar Jackson was trying to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. He was trying to show up with Patrick Mahomes in the passing game. Lamar Jackson is not a pure passer. He's not. He's not accurate. He doesn't make good decisions when he passes the ball. Lamar Jackson, he's not that smart of a quarterback. He's not. And I wasn't all that impressed with him. If you take away his running game, if you take away his rushing yards during that game, he was very average. He passed for 273 yards. Okay, great. A lot of quarterbacks are passing that many yards now in a passing league. So that 273 passing yards is not impressive. They scored 20 points. They scored 20 points. The game would have been a blowout if Derrick Henry did not have his rushing touchdown. And it would have been even more of a blowout if if the Chiefs, if they would have scored those two dropped touchdown passes. The game would have been a huge blowout. They probably pretty much would have almost blown them out. They would have had just 7 points. And that's my point, because they are not calling a complimentary football game. Their defense wasn't able to hold the Chiefs. The Chiefs had too much firepower for the Ravens. The Ravens made some pretty good defensive plays here and there, but it wasn't enough. And then you're passing the ball with Lamar Jackson literally all the time, so you're quickly getting their offense off the field. The Chiefs are just getting them off, so you're putting their hands right back in the hands of Patrick Mahomes. That is not good coaching. It's not good play calling. You have Derrick Henry, bro. Like, use him. I don't care how many times he's getting stuffed. Keep the ball on that offensive side. If you're in a situation where you need a first down, okay, maybe you don't have to run the ball with Derrick Henry. You can switch it up. You can have a different play call for Lamar Jackson to run. Lamar Jackson's best game is running. So run the ball with Lamar Jackson for the yardage that you need to get the first down or the touchdown or whatever. If Derrick Henry is being shut down, switch it up. Call different play calls. Like, there's so many different ways to skin this cat. Like, I felt like all this stuff should have been taken care of all offseason. We had all offseason when they picked up Derrick Henry for them to design and for them to create plays to make Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry the dynamic runners that they are. There was a time where Derrick Henry was the greatest running back in the entire league. He's one of the greatest running backs who ever lived. Lamar Jackson arguably is the greatest running quarterback to have ever lived. You have the potential to have all the leverage. You have two great runners. And then you have the quarterback who's a great runner and he can pass the ball. I'm not saying that just because Lamar Jackson is not a great passer that he can't pass the ball. He can pass the ball. He can launch the ball down the field. He's accurate enough to make throws. I'm just saying he's not that accurate. He's not accurate to the point, like, what I'm saying is that he's not like a Patrick Mahomes accurate. He's not like a Justin Herbert accurate. He's not even a Tua type of accurate passer. That's what I'm saying. But he is a good enough quarterback to make those plays when sometimes when needed. Because that's another thing. It goes to my other point. Lamar Jackson missed a lot of throws in that game, and that proves my point of what I'm saying. You cannot do that, bro. Like, you're missing these throws and you're stopping the clock, and then you're not and then you're just missing out on downs, and then you're putting the ball right back into the hands of Patrick Mahomes. That's not an efficient way to win the game. You have to get your control and get your leverage and get control of the clock. You can do that through how you can use the running game through Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Put Lamar Jackson in the best position for him to be his best self, for him to reach his highest potential. Don't just have it be a pass first offense. It's just not going to happen. I just didn't like the fact that they just did not really use Derrick Henry enough. That was just my. I was disturbed by that, and I was disturbed by John Harbaugh not calling the game, not having that be part of the scheme, not part of the game plan. That it bothered me. I mean, people keep saying, "Oh, the Ravens are going to figure it out. They're going to do fine." And yet, how many excuses are we going to give to Lamar Jackson? I haven't even gotten to the fact that he missed two throws in the red zone towards the end of the game. I didn't even get to that point yet, and he did. I mean, he did that same exact thing the last game he played at the AFC Championship. He threw a costly interception. And again, he's not a passer first quarterback. Lamar Jackson should only be passing the ball if he absolutely has to. Don't sit there having him pass the ball like he's freaking Tom Brady. He's not. He's not going to slice up a defense by his passing. He's going to slice up a defense through his running. Have him and Derrick Henry complement that. Yin yang. You can have so much control over the game by having these game plans being run through Derrick Henry first. Derrick Henry is the running back. And then having it be through Lamar Jackson second. And then you got Zay Flowers. Hill is a really solid receiving back. You got Likely. You got Mark Andrews. You can design these routes for if Lamar Jackson is being stopped during his running or whatever, he can pass the ball. Short yardage. Or Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers should run deeper routes. There are screens. Screens can be deadly with this. Screens can be deadly with them with their running, how their game is running, through their running game. Screenplays can be deadly. I mean, there are so many ways on how they can dominate the league through this rushing attack with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I just didn't like the game. I didn't like how the game was called. And the Ravens could have won that game if they would have had a better game plan. I believe they could have won that game if they would have had that game ran through Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the type of running back, the more you give him the ball, the better he becomes throughout the game. That's how Derrick Henry always been. And the Ravens they decided to shy away from that and just kept the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands. And I can't think of a game that Lamar Jackson just wins games like this just purely off being a pure passer. He ran a lot, yeah, but this offense was solely more on through him, and they could have beat the Chiefs if it was more ran through Derrick Henry. And I don't see them ever getting through the hump. I don't see them ever going to a championship if they are not going to re-identify their offense through a run-first offense and not through a Lamar Jackson, whatever he decides to do, type of offense. Because that's what it's looking like. And they're not going to win any games. Because you can shut down Lamar Jackson. It's easy to shut him down. You can let him get some rushing yards here and there. You're like, man, as long as we keep him out the red zone or the end zone, that's all that matters. He can rack up as many yards as much as he can. Who cares? He had, a total of 397 total yards? So what? He only scored one time. He only got into the red zone end zone one time through a passing touchdown. He didn't even get a rushing touchdown. So if you play against, and there's defenses that are way better than the Chiefs defense. There are defenses out there that are way better than the Chiefs defense. And I don't know who the Ravens schedule is up next. Let me see. I can look it up and see. Ravens 2024. So it looks like they have the Raiders. The Raiders has a pretty solid defense. Well, on paper they do. The Raiders, the Cowboys. The Cowboys got good defense, great defense. I'll say the Cowboys defense is better than the Chiefs defense. The Cowboys got a really great pass rusher. They got the Commanders. They're subpar defenses. Buccaneers plays good defense. The Browns for a little bit last year, they had one of the top best defenses, statistical wise, ever in the first few weeks of the game of the season last year. You got the Broncos, the Bengals again, Steelers. That's going to be a test. The Steelers always plays well against the Ravens. And you got the Chargers. You already know the Chargers. What the Chargers going to do with them? Jim Harbaugh, they're going to play good defense to get the Ravens. And they got great pass rushers. You got the Eagles. The Eagles play pretty well against the Packers. Now the Eagles, their defense wasn't all that really against the Packers. Jordan Love was playing really well against them, but the Eagles' rush defense was really solid. They were shutting down Josh Jacobs. They were shutting him down for a little bit. Josh Jacobs broke a few, but the Eagles, they did play pretty well against. They did hold it up against Josh Jacobs for a little bit. So, I mean, let's see, the Steelers again, and they got the Texans again, and they got the Browns again. So, probably about on paper, because it's kind of hard to say like which defense is going to be the top defense this year, because you can't always go by personnel. You have to go by the coordinators and and just how they play and situational and all that stuff. But my point is that the Chiefs is not going to have the best defense in the entire league this year. That's what I'm saying. The Chiefs always had a really good defense. They do, but they're not going to. They don't have the best. And the Ravens is going to face tougher defenses than the Chiefs. And if they don't contain these pass rushers that they're going to be facing, because the Chiefs, I mean, they don't really have like a dominant pass rusher, and the Ravens is going to be facing that. They're going to be facing dominant pass rushers with a dominant line and solid linebackers, and then and also with great corners. So if they don't figure this out, when they can have like a Derrick Henry, you can use Derrick Henry to run towards the pass rusher, take out somebody like Micah Parsons or Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack or people like that. Because that's pretty much the best way to get rid of a pass rusher is running the ball towards them. So if you do not figure this out on running this offense through Derrick Henry, that's what I believe what they should do. That's what I believe how they're going to get over the hump. That's how I feel like how they can get to even the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, we all know the Chargers is going to the Super Bowl. But what I'm saying is that they can be a Super Bowl type of potential team. That's what I'm saying. Outside of the Chargers for the AFC, beating the Chiefs, not being the victim of the Chiefs all the time, But the Ravens can get it together. I feel like the only way they're able to get it together, they get that offensive line right, and they run this offense through Derrick Henry. If they get that offensive line right and they run this offense through Derrick Henry, they are going to be very dangerous. They have some pretty solid, great playmaking defensive players on that side of the ball. They do, even though they gave up 27 points. But I believe those 27 points was due to situational and to bad play calling. So if you play better situational football and you are keeping the ball in Lamar Jackson's and you're keeping the ball on Lamar Jackson's hands in the offense more, having the offense keep that ball more, you can have that defense, that Ravens defense can play better. And they're going to get better throughout the year. Everybody's going to get better throughout the year. It's still week one. But, I won't say everybody's going to get better throughout the year. But there are some teams who plays worse in the early season. They get way better in their later season. It just happens, But I'm just saying, it's going to be the same old Ravens if they don't change their identity on offense. I don't trust Lamar Jackson that much. It's going to be the same old Lamar Jackson. We're going to see the same old story over and over and over again. Like Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins. We're going to see the same Tua. Like, I mean, I don't even think Tua's even that good of a quarterback in the regular season. I think Tua's a completely overrated quarterback. You know, I've seen Tua just make terrible throws throughout the season. You know, so Tua, I wouldn't even say Tua is even that great or that good to be like, oh, he's good in the regular season, but he sucks in the playoffs. No, he's very average in the regular season, and he sucks even more in the playoffs. That's what Tua is. But Lamar Jackson, he is a future Hall of Famer. He is the type of player that we have never seen before. He is one of the most talented quarterbacks to have ever lived. He really is. I'm not a fan of Lamar Jackson, but I do respect him. I do respect him as a player, and I do respect his game. But I am going to call it how it is. He's not a passer. He's not a good passing quarterback. He's not a pass first quarterback, and I don't think he ever will be. I honestly don't. I think it's possible. He's capable of it, but I don't think Lamar Jackson will deconstruct his ego or want to change his game for him to be a passer first quarterback. I don't think he will want to do it. I don't think he is going to do it. I would like for him to do it, but if he doesn't, then it was whatever. That's what I'm saying. So the Ravens, you got Derrick Henry. That's what frustrates me. What's the point of getting Derrick Henry? That's what I'm just trying to figure out. What's the point of doing it? You're using Derrick Henry the same way as the Titans used him later on, like towards the end of his years with the Titans. Feed this man. Feed the monster. The Titans went to the playoffs purely off Derrick Henry. They didn't have any quarterback. No quarterback that I liked, and no quarterback that I thought was great or good. They literally did that off the pure back legs of Derrick Henry. The same way how they did it. The same way how Andrew Peterson brought the Vikings to the playoffs. Do this. Have Derrick Henry come back. Do that. Do you know how dominant of an offense that would be? And then you will open up lanes for Lamar Jackson to launch the ball down the field. Because then you got Zay Flowers. He can take the top off of a defense. Like, to me, I don't think Zay Flowers ran enough deep routes. If you're going to have Lamar Jackson keep throwing the ball, have those routes be deep. Have them launch that joker with Zay Flowers. What's the point of drafting Zay Flowers if you're not going to do that? I think Zay Flowers runs too many short routes. Like, come on, man. Use him. I just, they got to change up the play calling, man. They got to change up the game plan. They got to change up the scheming, man. They got to. But, man, they can be so dangerous, man. The Ravens can be so dangerous. And if they change it up, they change the way how they if they change the way how they call their plays, the coordinators, the schemes and all that, they can beat the Chiefs. They can beat them. I'm not saying they will, but they can beat them. So, hopefully the Ravens will get together. I honestly don't think they will, because I think Lamar Jackson has a lot to say about that. So I don't think Lamar Jackson is going to want the offense being ran through Derrick Henry. So I think it's going to be the same old results. And hey, this video is documented. So you can come back and you can look at this video. You can be like, hey, you was wrong. If that does happen, So hey, let me know what you think. Do you think that I am completely wrong and I'm being too harsh on Lamar Jackson? Do you think I am being a hater on Lamar Jackson, even though I predict the Ravens to win 24-20? And do you like what is your perspective on the game? Like, how do you feel how that game turned out? Do you think that, and let me know, do you think that this offense should be ran through Derrick Henry, purely through Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson second? Derrick Henry's legs first, Lamar Jackson's legs second, and Lamar Jackson's arm third? Do you think that the offense should be ran that way? And what is your prediction on where the Ravens is going to be this year? Do you think they're going to get it together? Do you think they're going to go to the playoffs? Do you think they're going to go to the AFC Championship? Do you think they're going to go to the Super Bowl? Let me know. Give me your record. Let me know what you think what the Ravens record could be, and what do you think they're going to do next week? Let's see. They're playing next week. I think it was the Raiders. Do you think they're going to win against the Raiders? I think they'll beat the Raiders next week. Yeah, even though they're facing a pretty solid defense that on paper they're facing a good solid, but I think they can handle the Raiders next week. So Let me go ahead and do my prediction on that game. So September 15th, Baltimore Ravens against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's in Baltimore. I will say the Ravens will win. 25-14. So there we go. I'll say Ravens 25, Raiders 15. I mean 14. Raiders 14. So let's see what's up. I predicted the Ravens to get 24 points against the Chiefs. So I'm telling you, I still have faith in their offense. So I'm kind of contradicting myself because I'm a huge fan of Derrick Henry. So I could be a little biased. Derrick Henry is one of my favorite running backs of all time. Actually, I love Derrick Henry. I love running backs that could run between the tackles. When I get into coaching, and when I start coaching high school football, college, whatever, those are the type of running backs I'm going to be recruiting. I'm going to be drafting. I get that far, become a general manager or a scout. Scouting. It's those big, heavy, solid, bruising running backs that can just beat down a defense day in and day out, play in and play out every single inch. This is a game of inches. So you can win so many games off a great running back. You can win so many games off a great running back because that's just 1 yard, 2 yard, 1 yard, 2 yard, 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard, 4 yard. First down, boom, 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 boom. You don't even got to pick up those huge yards, just chunking it. And then you built this solid offensive, beefy, brutal line to just dominate the defensive line and just having that run back, just chipping away, just beating down the defense, just tearing the defense down, just draining the defense throughout the game. The defense is going to be tired of just constantly trying to tackle this bruiser. Boom, boom. That is a recipe of winning, man. I'm telling you. Then you got a great defense, and then you have a really great quarterback. You know what I'm saying? You just, that's complimentary football right there, man. That's what I want the Ravens to do. That's what I want them to do. Okay? So we'll leave it on that note. So let me know what you think. Give me your opinions. Go ahead and debate with me. Call me out. Argue. Say I'm wrong. Say I'm biased. Yada, 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 whatever. Hey, man, football is unpredictable. And so at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of this stuff, unless we're speaking fundamental facts, and what football actually is, and stuff like that. And unless, I know a lot of people don't really watch games. They don't watch the tape. They just like to go just based on stats. I hardly ever look at stats. That is not my first way of analyzing anything when I talk about these players. I watch the game and I just be honest about it. I'm like, am I impressed or I'm not impressed? And I consider a lot of things when I watch this game. I consider the play calling. I consider the coaching. I consider the coordinators. I consider the personnel. I consider who they're going up against, the matchups, everything. I consider a lot when I play this game. It's almost like I'm a player. I was a former player, but I consider everything because all of that stuff has an effect on the game. Everything. So you have to consider all of this. How how great was this defense these quarterbacks was going against? How great was this defense this running back was going against? How was the offensive line? What's the offensive line rate? Who's playing, who's not playing. It's so much stuff that goes into play. I take all that into consideration. So at the end of the day, it's like I'm like the stats doesn't even matter that much to me. It's the tape, it's the film. The stats is just it's freaking misleading the stats is misleading facts. That's what stats are. It's misleading facts. But if you want to go deeper into the context, it's like reading the Bible or reading a real complicated book. You have to go beyond just the words that you see. So in this case, the football, the NFL, going beyond of what this is stats, is the tape, is the game. And then take into consideration all the aspects that affects the game, that develops the game. All that stuff matters. Okay? So, yeah, we'll leave it on that note. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back here again soon, tomorrow, all day.